Week 5 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I look to sell and trade this week. The first hit is Salvador Perez of the Kansas City Royals. So Perez, he's off to a monster start to start the year. 7 home runs, 26 RBIs, 13 runs scored, a 340 average, and a 398 on base. Salvador Perez playing great baseball for this Kansas City Royal team. But last season, he was in the mid-200s, 255, 23, and 80. So right now, playing a little bit over his head to start the year, and that the catcher position where he's off to this great start. He has great sell-high value, in my opinion. And obviously, he's been one of the best catchers over the last few seasons. But injuries and age, I think, are catching up to him a little bit, where now he's dealing a little bit of a tight back. I know he pinched hit in yesterday's ball game in Salvador Perez, but I don't know if he's going to last the season without making a couple stints on the IL. April 26th at the Tigers, 1 for 5 a run. April 27th at the Tigers, 2 for 4 in RBI. April 28th at the Tigers, 0 for 3. And April 29th at the Jays, 1 for 1. So right now, playing amazing baseball at a catcher position. That's one of the weakest positions in all fantasy baseball. I think I would sell Perez high. And if you need some pitching on your team, it's a perfect deal, I believe, for fantasy owners to go out there and trade Perez for starting pitching. So right now, while he's played great baseball the first month of the season, he's a sell-high candidate this week. The next hitter, Alec B of the Philadelphia Phillies. Alec B, he's tearing you up right now for this Philly team of fantasy owners. On the year, 4 home runs, 28 RBIs, 15 runs scored, a stolen base, a 365 average, and a 441 on base. Alec B last season, he had a type of breakout year, 20 and 97 with 274 batting average. But this year, he's taking it to another level in the early going. And right now, I believe you could get a pitcher and a hitter in a deal for Alec B. That's how good he's been, and also qualifying at first and third is great versatility for him. So the last few games, April 25th at the Reds, 1 for 4. April 26th at the Padres, 3 for 5, 2 runs and RBI. April 27th at the Padres, 2 for 4, homer, 4 RBIs. April 28th at the Padres, 3 for 5 with a run. And April 29th at the Angels in that ball game, 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. So he's playing amazing baseball, no doubt about it, Alec B, with a batting average in the 360s 4 or 5 weeks of the season. But to still put up those numbers, and he's in the lineup where he's going to get a lot of good pitches to hit, where you got a good lineup with Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, obviously in the lineup, JT Realmuto, Nick Castellanos, Brandon Marsh having a good year. So to be in a lineup like that, batting third or fourth usually, is Alec B, and he's playing good baseball. He's getting the protection and the good pitches. But like I said, there's no way he's going to keep it up hitting at this volume this season. And we know he's not that big of a power hitter as well. So right now, while he's playing amazing baseball, and yes, he is a former top prospect a few years ago in the system, I would sell him high this week. But like I said, it's got to be a good package or a solid 1-for-1 deal to trade him this week. The next hitter I look to sell in trades is Jordan Westberg of the Baltimore Orioles. So this Oriole team, their farm system, one of the best, if not the best in all major leagues. And Jordan Westberg, another prospect that came up last season and so far this year, playing great ball for this Blue Jay team. On the year, 5 home runs, 19 RBIs, 16 runs scored, 4 stolen bases, a 304 average, and a 360 on base. So doing a little bit of everything in the early going here is Jordan Westberg. But I don't believe he's going to keep it up at this rate. And over the last 2 weeks, 2 homers, 9 RBIs, 7 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 349 average, and a 378 on base. So he's playing great baseball. This Baltimore Oriole team, one of the best teams in the league in the early going. And last season they were great, and this year with all these young, exciting players, I think they're going to be great as well. But I just don't believe Westberg's going to keep it up at this pace. And he's got great value as well, qualifying at second and third in fantasy. April 24th at the Angels, 1 for 5. April 26th versus the A's, 0 for 4. April 27th versus the A's, 2 for 4, a run and a ribbon. April 29th versus the Yankees, 1 for 3 in that one. So right now, since he's playing great baseball, is Westberg. Obviously, second base he qualifies at and plays. He's a perfect sell-high candidate this week. The next hitter, Travis d'Arnaud of the Atlanta Braves. So d'Arnaud, he got off to a slow start, and then a 3-home-run game really got him going on the year. 5 home runs, 16 RBIs, 11 runs scored, a 292 average, and a 365 on base. But the last 2 weeks, like I said, 5 homers, 12 RBIs, 7 runs scored, a 379 average, and a 472 on base. Travis d'Arnaud, a former top prospect many years ago, with the Toronto Blue Jays. Then he got traded to the Mets. He didn't pan out over there, but he's found a home over the last few seasons with this Atlanta Brave team. April 26th versus the Guardians, 0 for 3. April 27th versus the Guardians, 1 for 3 in RBI. April 28th versus the Guardians, again 1 for 1. And April 29th at the Mariners, 0 for 2 in that game. So Travis d'Arnaud, the last couple games, he's obviously slowed down. But also as well, Sean Murphy, I believe he'll be back 3-4 weeks. He is, Murphy. I know he's dealing with the weak strain, and reports coming out last week, he still hasn't done catching work here. And I know they're not going to rush him back. Travis d'Arnaud being a capable backup and filling in pretty well. But right now with Murphy, I believe a couple weeks away possibly, and d'Arnaud being a hot and cold hitter throughout his MLB career, he's a sell-high candidate, catches a weak position. I think you could get a starting pitcher in a deal for him as well. And also, he was a player you picked up off the waiver wire, obviously. So if you could anytime do that, pick someone off the wire and flip them in a deal, that's always a plus as well. And the fifth and final hitter I look to sell in trades, Dalton Varsho of the Toronto Blue Jays. So Varsho, he got hot over the last couple weeks here. And on the year, 6 home runs, 14 RBIs, 16 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, a 233 average and a 320 on base. But the last 2 weeks, like I said, he got hot, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 8 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, a 275 average, and a 383 on base. So right now, Varsho playing solid baseball over the last few weeks here for this Toronto Blue Jay team. But last season, he was a 220 hitter. I know he's going to bring some pop, 15, 20 home runs, most likely once again this year for Dalton Varsho. But another player that was picked up off the waiver wire, and if you could flip him for something decent, this would be the time to do it, because he's starting to get a little cold as well over the last few games. April 26th versus the Dodgers, 0 for 3. April 27th versus the Dodgers, 0 for 4. April 28th versus the Dodgers, 0 for 3 in RBI. And April 29th versus the Royals, 1 for 4 with a run. So right now, since he's slowed down a little bit, he is Dalton Varsho. I would look to sell him high. He went through a power surge for a couple games, and now I think he's going to go back down to earth a little bit. So I would sell him this week. So that's a few hitters I look to sell and trade for Week 5 fantasy baseball season.